no data, no problem. With the lowest data rates in the country, have extra fun with SLT Extra GB.
For more details, call 1212.
Tonight, undefeated, Sri Lankan government survives no confidence vote for failing to prevent Easter massacre. Is he culpable? Court considers severity of allegations levelled against Dr. Mohammed Shafi, but CID has no sufficient evidence to terrorism links. US to work closely. While the debate on whether Sri Lanka should enter controversial security agreements with the United States continues, Trump reiterates US commitment to stand with Sri Lanka. Not good enough. Governor of the central bank says GDP growth is still the concern, says more needs to be done in order to address it.
Growth is a problem. That is where we need to see how things can be accelerated.
All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Thursday, the 11th of July, 2019.
මුහුණ සති කීපයකට කලින් Fair and Lovely men ගෑවට පස්සේ මාක්ස් අඩු වෙලා fairness වැඩි වෙලා.
මාක්ස් අඩු කරලා ඔයාගේ fairness standard එක වැඩි කරගන්න. Fair and Lovely men anti-marks cream.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A warm welcome. The Sri Lankan government today survived a no-confidence motion tabled in Parliament by the Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna. It was defeated by 119 legislators of the 225-member Assembly, voting with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The JVP's no-confidence motion was short of 27 votes when a total of 92 parliamentarians, including the Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna and a majority of the UPFA members, voted in favour of the motion. Members of the United National Party and Tamil National Alliance were among those who voted against the motion. Following the vote today, several parliamentarians expressed their views to media.
සම්බන්ධන් මහත්මයාත් මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාත් නිවැරදිම ලෙස තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා නම් මේ විශ්වාස භංගය ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීමේ හැකියාව ඉතා හොඳින් තිබුණා. නමුත් විශේෂයෙන්ම අවස 4:00ට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ලිපියකින් එකඟ වුණා සම්බන්ධන් මහත්මයාට කල්මුනේ වෙනම ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවක් කරලා ලබා දෙන බව. ඒ නිසා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ සුපුරුදු කප්පම් ගෙවීමේ දේශපාලනයෙන් තමයි මේ විශ්වාස භංගය ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න ඔහු කටයුතු කරේ.
අපි පක්ෂයෙන් තීරණය කරලා අපි තීරණය හැටියට අපි කඩ දුන්නා.
සම්බන්ධ මැතිතුමාගේ සරණ පතුවා ඉතින් ඒක අනුව තීන්දුවුණා. ඊගාල් මේ ආණ්ඩුව පෙරලනකම් වැඩි දවසක් නැහැනේ ඉන්නකෝ.
නැවත වරක් අපි අපේ රජය ඊටාත්ම ශක්තිමත් රජයක් වශයෙන් මුළු රටටම අපිට පෙන්වා දීමට අවස්ථාවක් ලැබුණා. තවමත් ඡන්දානු දෙකේ ඉන්නේ. ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණේ ඡන්ද ටික අයින් කරා නම් ඡන්ද 86යි. තවම ඡන්ද 86කට වඩා ඉහළට කවදාකවත් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ විපක්ෂයේ ගිහිලා නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි තව මහන්සි වුණාම ඉදිරියේදී අපිට 3-2ක ඡන්දයක් අපිට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්.
Earlier in the day, parliamentarians from both the government and opposition expressed their views during the debate on the no-confidence motion against the government. Now, the subject on US agreements were a highlight of this debate.
ඊයේ ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමාගෙන් විමසන ලද ප්‍රශ්නයකට එතුමා පිළිතුරු දුන්නා සෝෆා ගිවිසුම සහ ඇක්සා ගිවිසුම ගැන. මේ තින්නේ ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාගේ කාලේ අස්සම් කරපු ඇක්සා මුළු ගිවිසුම. ඒ පිටු 9ට අමතරව ඇනෙක්සස් මුකුත් නැහැ. මේ තියෙනවා තමුන්නාන්සලගේ අගමැතිතුමා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට දාපු ඇක්සා ගිවිසුමේ සිංහල පිටපත. මේක පිටු 9යි. මෙන්න තියෙනවා ඇත්ත ඇක්සා ගිවිසුම. අගමැතිතුමා මේ සභාවට නොදැන එක. මේකේ මූලික කොටස තමයි මේ සිංහලෙන් පරිවර්තනය කරලා කැබිනට් එකට දැම්මේ. මෙහෙම අගමැති කෙනෙක්ගේ ආණ්ඩුවක් තියෙන්න ඕනද? සහරාන් කියන වහබි අන්තවාදීන්ගේ ඒ මරාගෙන මරන බෝම්බ ප්‍රහාර. ඒව ගැන අප්‍රේල් 2011 වෙනකොට දන්නවා බුද්ධ්‍යංශ දැනුවත් කරලා තිබුණා. එහෙම තියෙද්දී අපරාධ වෙන්න ඉඩ හැරලා බලාගෙන හිටියා.
ඇමතිවරයෙක් හැටියට මමත් සමස්ත ආණ්ඩුවමත් ආරක්ෂකයන්සත් බුද්ධ්‍යංශත් මේ සිදුවෙච්ච ඛේදවාචකය වළක්වා ගැනීමට නොහැකි වීමෙන් එහි වගකීමෙන් ගැලවෙන්න බෑ. ඒතර ඒකට පිළිතුර ආණ්ඩුව ඉල්ලා අස්වීම වැරදුනේ කොතනද කියන ප්‍රශ්නය නිවැරදිව හඳුනාගෙන ඉන් පස්සේ වැරදිකාරීන් සම්බන්ධයෙන් ක්‍රියා කිරීමයි සිදු විය යුත්තේ. 2017 ඇමරිකන් පුරවැසියෙක් වෙච්ච ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ ඇමරිකන් පුරවැසියෙක් වෙච්ච රොබර්ට් බ්ලේක් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා ගහපු ගිවිසුම කිසිම කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයකට ගෙනාවේ නැහැ. නමුත් මේ ගිවිසුම අපි කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ගෙනලා තියෙන විතරක් නෙවෙයි විස්තරාත්මකව ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා කවර අණුකණ්ඩ කොතෙන්ටද ගමන් කරන්න කියලා. නමුත් ගෝඨාභයගේ එකේ හැටියට ඇමරිකන් හමුදාවේ ඕනම අණුකණ්ඩයකට රටට මැදිහත් වීමේ අයිතිය තිබුණු බව මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ.
ඇමරිකාව රටවල් 102ක් එක්ක මේ යක්ෂයක අස්සම් කරලා තියෙනවා. මේක මහ ලොකු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ලංකාවට නැව් වෙනකොට මේ පහසුකම් දෙන්න ලොජිස්ටික්ස් දෙන්නේ. මේ සියලුම දෙනේව පිළිබඳව තමයි මේක අස්සම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මීට එහා දෙයක් නැහැ මෙතන.
මේ රටේ ප්‍රධාන පුරවැසියාට එල්ල විදියේ දෝෂායෝභගිය මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ගෙනාව නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම නිසකවම ඒ සඳහා සහයෝගය චමින්ද විජේසිංහ ලැබෙනවා.
ජනාධිපතිවරයාට විරුද්ධව දෝෂාභියෝගයක් ගෙනීමේදී දෝෂාභියෝගයක් බාර දීම සඳහා අවම වශයෙන් മന്ത്രിවරු 3න් එකක් ඒ කියන්නේ 75 දෙනෙක් අස්සම් කරන්න ඕනේ. 75 දෙනෙක් ඔබතුමාලා අස්සම් කරලා බාර දුන්නා නම් අපිටත් ඒ දෝෂාභියෝගයට සහාය.
කොහොමද ස්තුති මන්ත්‍රීතුමා.
පුළුවන් නම් ඉතින් ජනාධිපතිතුමාටත් දෝෂාභියෝගයක් ගේන්න. ඒකට අපිත් මේ අද්දකම උස්සලා අපි ඡන්ද දෙනවා.
During the debate today, UPFA parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena was meanwhile very critical of Sri Lanka's economic outlook.
HSBC paints a gloomy economic outlook for Sri Lanka. Day before yesterday's headline cuts growth outlook to 2.7%, slowest since 2001, citing policy and political issues. Says recovery unlikely, notes the recent concerns of the national security likely to be the further drag on economic recovery. We have lost the confidence. Here what happened to the Colombo Business Association, which carries a membership of over 55,000 business entrepreneurs. With the prevailing issue, they were promised 5 demands when the leader of the opposition and the delegation met the Prime Minister and the Governor of the Central Bank. When they met the President, the assurances given. Even the Central Bank issued a relief package. Under Sancharaka Podda, the banks are not providing any relief in toto. Moreover, we discussed about the processing and auctioning of properties, vehicles due to late non-repayment loans, leases, enterprises affected by the Easter tax. President CBSL discussed the issue. Fresh circular to the banks and finance companies to temporarily avoid repossessing and auctioning of vehicles and properties.
Dr. Mohammed Shafi was ordered to be further remanded until the 25th of this month after being produced before the Kurunegala Magistrates Court. He is accused of allegedly amassing assets through suspicious means, performing illegal sterilization surgeries on pregnant women and having links to terrorist activities. Speaking on behalf of the Attorney General, the Deputy Solicitor General said that the 3-month detention order against Dr. Shafi was withdrawn yesterday after the Ministry of Defence was informed that the evidence against Dr. Shafi was inadequate to prove that he had received funds from a terrorist organization to promote their activities. The Deputy Solicitor General continued that the charges laid against Dr. Shafi for allegedly accumulating assets via suspicious means are being investigated further. He stressed that any claim which can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Dr. Shafi had committed offences that violate the Prevention of Money Laundering Act have not come up as of yet, although investigations on the matter are currently underway. The Deputy Solicitor General further told the court that statements should be recorded from the nearly 850 mothers who had lodged complaints stating that Dr. Shafi, on performing suspicious cesarean sections on them, the joint opposition charges that former Minister of Industry and Commerce Rashad Badruddin had committed a fraud of 5 billion rupees during his tenure overlooking Sathosa under his ministry. According to the Ministry of Finance, last year alone, Lanka's Sathosa incurred a loss of over 2.17 billion rupees. In 2017, however, the state institution recorded a loss of 2.78 billion, while the first quarter of this year losses stood at 788 million rupees.
රිචාඩ් බදුර්දීන් කියන හිටපු අමාත්‍යවරයාට ආයතන තියෙනවා 42ක්.
Former Minister Rishad Baduddin had 42 government institutions under his ministry. He had the most number of institutions. In March 2015, storage facilities of Satosa housed 80,000 metric tons of rice. But in April 2015, he went on to import 100,000 metric tons of rice. It cost 352 million rupees just to hold this stock of rice at the harbour. The minister chose 3 companies without calling for tenders to resell the imported rice at 38 rupees per kilogram, although was imported at 70 rupees per kilogram. A loss of nearly 2.5 billion rupees was incurred as a result. A friend of the former minister was responsible for clearance and transportation of the rice stocks. He even paid salaries to staff of his private businesses through Satosa funds. UTV, which belongs to the former minister, is funded by Satosa at a cost of over 1.5 million rupees. As a result, Satosa has naturally incurred a loss of 5 billion rupees.
Meanwhile, a group of parliamentarians from the joint opposition filed a complaint against the former minister Rishad Baduddin at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
Minister of Tourism Development John Amarathunga is insistent that Speaker Karu Jayasuriya is the most suitable presidential candidate representing the United National Party. Anunayaka Thera of the Ramanya Buddhist sect, Most Venerable Matare Dhammakusala Thera, is also of the same view.
28th death anniversary of Hasalaka Gamani or Corporal Gamani Kularatna was commemorated at the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority today.
අද මේ උත්සවයට අපේ කතානායකතුමා පැමිණීම අතිශයින්ම වැදගත්. එතුමා කිසිම බයක් හැකක් නැති, ඒ වගේම ඕනම ප්‍රශ්නයකට මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන් කතානායකයෙක්. මේ රටේ නායකත්වයට උනත් සුදුසුයි කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී මම මතක් කරනවා.
ජනාධිපතිවරණය එනවා ළඟදීම ඔබතුමාලා මොනවාගේ සූදානම්කද ඉන්නේ කවුද ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ?
දැනට අපේ කතානායකතුමාගේ නම ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමාගේ නම ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපේ නායකතුමාගේ නම ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා. ඉතින් එක එක කට්ටිය එක එක අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න පුළුවන් අපේක්ෂකෙක් අපි ජනාධිපතිවරණයට ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
Meanwhile, at a separate event, Anunayaka of the Ramanya sector, Most Venerable Matale Dhammakusala Thera, touched on the presidential candidacy from the United National Party.
ජාතික නායකත්වයකට ගැලපෙන පුද්ගලයා ජාතික සිරිත් විරිත් අගය කරන කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕන. රටේ ඉතිහාසය අගය කරන කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕන. ඒ වගේම රට ගැන හොඳ හැඟීමක් ඇති පුද්ගලයෙක් වෙන්න ඕන. මේ කරුණු කල්පනා කරන විට අපට පැහැදිලිව පෙනී යන්නේ අද මේ තත්වයට යෝග්‍ය වශයෙන් ඉන්න පුද්ගලයෝ සමූහයක් නැ පුද්ගලෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ තමයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ වර්තමාන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතානායක දේශබන්දු කරු ජයසූරිය මැතිතුමා.
Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs, Sajid Premadasa, dropped a hint of his interest to vie for presidency at the upcoming election. He expressed readiness to make Sri Lanka the most developed country in the world if he was given the power to rule.
අද මොකක්ද අපේ අරමුණ? කුඩු විනාශ කරන්න ඕන මගේ මතය. තැබෑරුම් සංස්කෘතිය විනාශ කරන්න ඕන. දැන් තමුන්නාන්සලට කාලයක් එනවා ඉස්සරහට පිළිය යුක්ත පුදන්න. පුදන ආකාරය කුමක්ද කියන එක ඔබලගේ අතේ තියෙනවා. මොනියම් හෝ ආකාරයට තමුන්නාන්සලා තීන්දුව කරොත් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසට රාජ්‍ය බලයේ කියන ශක්තිය ලබා දෙනමයි කියලා. මේ රටේ සමස්ත ජනතාව එක රටක් හැටියට මුළු ලෝකෙන්ම සංවර්ධනෙන් බැබලෙන රට අපේ මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාව බවට පත් කරන්නට අපි ලෑස්ති කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ කතා කරනවා.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna stressed that they do not see a worthy candidate for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to contest the next presidential election. Also speaking at a media briefing organised by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, MP Mahinda Amaraveera said that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is to hold further talks with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna on the formation of the alliance.
තදින්ම විශ්වාස කරනවා පළවෙනි එක අපේක්ෂකයා දිනන්න පුළුවන් අපේක්ෂකයෙක් විය යුතුයි. දෙවැනි කාරණේ තමයි මේ අපේක්ෂකයා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ නැත්තම් පොහොට්ටුවේ අපේක්ෂකයෙක් විය යුතුයි. එහෙම කියන්න හේතුව තමයි අනිත් පක්ෂයේ එහෙම අපේක්ෂකයෙක් අපිට ඉන්නවයි කියලා තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. පරදින අපේක්ෂකයෝ දාලා මැතිවරණයට යන්න උවමනාවක් නැහැ.
ඕනෑම සන්දානික ප්‍රධාන පාර්ශවකාරයාගෙන් තමයි ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා සහ අගමැති අපේක්ෂකයා ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්නේ. එතකොට මේ ගොඩනැගෙන සන්දානයේ ප්‍රධාන පාර්ශවකාරයා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ.
අනිත් පක්ෂෙක්වත් අපි සාකච්ඡා ආරම්භ කරනවා. දැනටමත් අපේ පක්ෂේ ඉඳලා වෙන් වෙලා ගිහිපු කණ්ඩායම් අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න පටන් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. ජනතා යුක්ත පෙරමුණත් එක්කත් අපි සාකච්ඡා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම චම්පික රණවක මැතිතුමා, විජේදාස රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා එක්ක අපි නිල නොවන විදියට මේ පිළිබඳව අදහස් මාරු කරගෙන තියෙනවා.
Moving on to other local news, Sri Lanka's new ambassador to the United States, E. Rodney Pereira, presented his credentials to the President of the United States, Donald Trump, at the White House earlier this week. And during their meeting, Ambassador Pereira had stated that a robust, multidimensional relationship with the United States remains an important objective for the government of Sri Lanka, which includes strengthening trade and economic ties, widening people-to-people contacts, and promoting international and regional peace as well as security. President Trump, meanwhile, had reiterated his commitment that the United States would stand with Sri Lanka in the aftermath of the Easter Sunday terror attacks and expand counterterrorism, maritime and border security cooperation with the island nation. The US President had also stressed the importance of working together to strengthen the ties between the two countries, which are rooted in a shared commitment to democracy, human rights and the rule of law. He had welcomed Sri Lanka's commitments to promoting reconciliation and accountability and justice in pursuit of lasting peace following the civil conflict. The International Transport Workers Federation has called on the Sri Lankan government to release a Ukrainian seafarer who has been detained in Sri Lanka since year 2016 in relation with the Avantgarde case. Captain Gennady Gavroli has been prevented from leaving Sri Lanka since his arrest on the 23rd of June of year 2016 in connection with Sri Lanka's probe into the offshore support vessel. He was the master on board the Avantgarde, which was engaged in maritime security and piracy prevention. And it's said that the Avantgarde was engaged in maritime security and piracy prevention, and therefore firearms and ammunition stores were kept on board for the purpose of his role. In October of 2015, now the vessel was awaiting clearance to enter port anchored outside Sri Lankan waters on the orders of the company when it was seized by the Sri Lankan authorities. Captain Cavalry had been arrested in relation to illegal importation of arms. And its General Secretary, Stephen Cotton, was quoted as saying, "For over 3 years, Kavarov has been stranded in Sri Lanka, desperate to go home, while Sri Lankan authorities refuse to grant him permission to leave the country. He is a victim of criminalization, and his continued detention is nothing short of a severe breach of his human rights," Stephen Cotton added. And we move in for a short commercial break. We'll return with your business news after this. In your business news, Sri Lanka is holding policy rates at current levels in a bid to maintain inflation at around 4.6%, despite weak credit. But the central bank may cut the floor rate in August, that's next month. The central bank said standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate of the central bank will be maintained at their current levels of 7.50% and 8.50% respectively, with the aim of maintaining inflation in the desired 4% to 6%. Speaking at the 4th Monetary Policy Review meeting today, Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy said that growth levels remain a concern and structural reforms would be required to ensure that Sri Lanka will be able to reach its growth target of 3% this year. The Central Bank is also expected to conduct a 6th forensic audit on its regulated entities soon.
Looking at inflation as the key indicator for domestic stability, the current account as a key indicator for external stability, on both fronts we are in pretty good shape. And also gross official reserves following the second international sovereign bond issuance, as at the end of June, was $8.9 billion. So if you look at stability, we are in pretty good shape. However, growth is a problem. That is where we need to see how things can be accelerated. There are structural reforms that need to be implemented, and of course, one needs to work on both sentiment and confidence, which at the moment, particularly after the Easter bombings, have taken a hit. As we've said, the potential growth rate is 5%. We are around 3%. So clearly there is this output gap, which would argue for a relaxation of monetary policy. There are some risks as far as the external sector is concerned. Fuel prices, in terms of food prices, these are global prices that I'm talking about, and also the possibility of capital flows, capital outflows in particular, and a reduction in non-debt creating flows if FDI flows are less than we anticipated due to the Easter bombings. There is evidence now that there could be fiscal slippage due to the Easter bombings, as well as the import compression that we are seeing outside the effects of the Easter bombings. The government's revenue, import duty collection has come down. The government is taking steps to review the whole budget and to make sure that it maintains the overall framework of the budget.
Any update on the growth? Have you had a new target?
It was projected to be 4% at the beginning of the year. So post the Easter bombings, we've revised it down to about 3%. I've seen some projections which have been much more gloomy than 3%. I think that is overdone. And we are beginning to see, faster recovery than anticipated.
Cabinet gave approval for the central bank to call bids for a second time for an international forensic expert. How do you plan on using the services of the forensic audit experts? And
there are 5 forensic audits which we have already initiated, and which will be completed between August and September, October. But this is a 6th one, which a court wanted us to do.
The scope of this forensic audit had been expanded due to certain issues. So because of that, went beyond the central bank approved level and had to go to the cabinet level. So that is why we had to go before the cabinet a couple of times. And again, we had a concern with regard to the costs. So now we got the fresh approval for the enhanced cost, and that received only this week. Estimated amount is 700 million rupees. This is actually with regard to the regulated entities of the central bank, and we were given a magistrate court order to expand the scope of this particular audit activity that was given to the central bank, and also the Auditor General Department is not in a position to carry out this. So that is why we had to initiate.
It was just last week that Sri Lanka got reaffirmation as the top spot in Lonely Planet's best travel destinations list of countries to visit in 2019. Despite recent Easter attacks on Sri Lanka, however, the island nation is once again recognized as the #1 island to travel by US-based travel magazine Travel Plus Leisure from among 15 other countries. In its list of the 15 best islands in the world, Sri Lanka received the highest score of 92.12 out of 100, with Palawan in the Philippines and Bali in Indonesia being ranked 2nd and 3rd in the list, respectively. Travel Plus Leisure noted that Sri Lanka is only recovering from the impact of the Easter attacks, but the island had not lost any of its beauty. The magazine said, quote, "After the terrorist attacks in April, Sri Lanka's booming tourism industry has taken a hit, but the island is on the mend and as glorious as ever to visit." Taking you to international business news, China's Commerce Ministry said today that China and the United States can find a way to resolve their trade dispute if legitimate concerns are taken into consideration. China also said that it hopes the US will remove sanctions on Huawei technologies as soon as possible and clear a path for healthy bilateral relations. The two countries are in the midst of a year-long trade dispute, which has been seen as a slap tariff on each other's goods. China has vowed not to give in on the issues of principle, nor under US pressure. Taking you to the Colombo stock market, Colombo shares rose for the third straight session to a 12-week closing high as investors bought diversified and telecom stocks ahead of a key policy rates announcement today. Shares in conglomerate John Keells Holdings jumped 3.42%. LOLC Holdings ended 5.92% firmer. Sri Lanka Telecom closed up 6.33% and Dialog Axiata rose 3.23%. Stock market turnover was 523 million rupees and foreign investors sold a net 44.8 million rupees worth of shares. We have a brief report on how markets performed today.
Both capital markets continue to generate positive sentiment, with the new bond auction calendar illustrating lower than expected auctions. Renewed buying interest was seen on selected maturities, while overall market witnessed high volumes. In the equity market, bourse continued the positive sentiment for the third straight session on the gains made by blue cap John Keells and LOLC. During the day, 35% of turnover was derived from parcel trades in Melstar Corp and Sampath Bank, while the net foreign outflow was witnessed for the third consecutive day with high foreign participation.
The Sri Lankan rupee closed firmer at 175.35 to 45 per dollar compared to yesterday's close of 175.50 to 60 as dollar sales by banks surpassed imported greenback demand. Here's a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee, which has lost 0.17% last week and is up 4.13% so far this year, traded today. Iranian boats had tried to intercept Royal Navy boats, but we'll find out all that and much more after this short break. In your international news, the British government said today that 3 Iranian vessels tried to block the passage of a BP-operated tanker through the Strait of Hormuz, but withdrew when confronted by a Royal Navy warship. The standoff followed a warning by US President Donald Trump that US sanctions on Iran would soon be substantially increased as part of Washington's drive to curb Iran's nuclear activities and regional behavior. The incident came almost a week after British Royal Marines boarded an Iranian tanker, the Grace 1, off Gibraltar and seized it on suspicion that it was breaking European Union sanctions by taking oil to Syria. Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff Major General Mohammad Bagheri said that the British seizure would not go unanswered, but the Islamic Republic denied it had sought to stop the British heritage. Russian President Vladimir Putin said today that he hoped Norway brokered talks between Venezuela's government and the opposition would normalize the situation in the country and bring an end to political turmoil. Russia, like China and Cuba, is a staunch ally of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, while the opposition's Juan Guaido is backed by the United States and many other Western countries.
И в конечном итоге наносят непоправимый вред самой Грузии и грузинскому.
Moving on to international news, in Philippines, the United Nations Human Rights Council agreed today to set up a preliminary UN investigation into thousands of killings in the Philippines, so-called war on drugs. The resolution brought by Iceland was adopted by a vote of 118 countries. In favor of the vote, 14 against, including China, with 15 abstentions, including Japan, at this 47-member forum in Geneva. The Philippines delegation urged countries to vote against the text, which asks UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet to report back on the findings in June 2020. On to sports news. In the second semi-final match between England and Australia of the Cricket World Cup, electing to bat first, Australia struggled with the bat against their Ashes rivalry as they were reduced to 223 runs in just 49 overs. Chasing a comfortable target, England are currently on the verge of victory with 202 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. Days after winning their second consecutive FIFA World Cup, the United States women's national team continued to bag more awards as they won big at the 2019 EPSIs, a sporting version of the Oscars given out by the ABC television network. From football professionals to baseball's best and tennis champions, the awards show was filled with star athletes who made the show a one to remember.
World-renowned athletes made their way to the Microsoft Theatre in Los Angeles for the 2019 ESPYs given out by the ABC television network. The night was hosted by comedian Tracy Morgan. USA's soccer sensation Alex Morgan was awarded the Best Female Athlete of the Year.
Goes to Alex Morgan! Sorry, but this is probably the second best trophy we won this week. I think about the greats that have won this award in the past, and I'm just so honored to follow in their amazing footsteps. Investment in women and girls should not only occur on the playing fields, but in more storytelling of badass, amazing women who continue to show that we are more than just athletes.
Best male athlete was awarded to Milwaukee Bucks basketball player Giannis Antetokounmpo. Australian soccer star Sam Kerr took the award for Best Player in America's National Women's Soccer League, as well as the Best International Female Player for the second straight year. Lionel Messi was named the Best Male International Footballer, while Zlatan Ibrahimovic picked up Best Major League Soccer Player. Just hours after their ticker tape parade in New York City to celebrate their FIFA World Cup victory, the United States women's national team was awarded the trophy for Best Team at the 2019 ESPY Awards.
All those in favor of equal pay say aye. The women's national soccer team!
Wow, it's amazing. We literally just got off a plane a couple hours ago, got hair and makeup in the plane, and we look pretty fabulous, I think. So. Thank you to ESPN, all of our followers, supporters around the world. It's been an incredible journey. Super proud of all of these 22 fabulous ladies. So props to all of you, but thank you so much. And here's to the next World Cup in another 4 years. Thank you.
That's all from us here tonight. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.